Hey, you crazy cats! 42's live streams and videos are simply not available on vinyl. You will have to go to the YouTubes for that. So if you want content about British traditions and culture, cutting edge social commentary from an unapologetically patriotic perspective, along with a side order of madness you simply will not find anywhere else, then this is the place for you. And to all those early adopters in the chat, don't forget to hit the notification bell. That's how you get the good stuff and make sure you never miss a tasty treat. So with that being said and done, squeeze yourself in. Let's get into it. You know you want to. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Please delete as applicable because the internet is worldwide and time zones are indeed still a thing. Can I get a wee audio check in the chat, please? And I'll say a couple of hellos. Some of these people may have dipped out. George Orwell was the first on board, been here for a while. Arpi, what about you, chum? Glad to have you aboard. Julia Skinner. Toffee's out dog walking. Whenever he comes back, I have a bit of a surprise for him. Slim, buddy, what about you, chum? Haven't seen you for a while. Glad to see you back. Manigan, what about you, chum? Arpa, hey. Mandalay. There's Rags. Rags, stick it in the chat, mate. Let me know if you're streaming this weekend and who you're on with, because the notifications for all this stuff has gone to pot. I'll come on to that. Roy Herbert, glad to have you aboard, sir. There's England for the English. Can we not talk about football, please? Well, we're not really talking about football. We're talking about the woke invasion of the football more than anything else. Toby Reedley, evening, sir. Glad to have you aboard. My God. Rags. Roy Herbert's telling me my audio's good. Thanks for that. The first ever live stream I did, this was the topic, and the audio was like I was broadcasting from a submarine in the Arctic. So much so that whenever I finished the stream and I played a little bit back, I put it on the private. I'll give you some clips of that during the show, and hopefully we'll see that it's got better. Right, so just saying hello to people. Well, okay, what about you, chum? Glad to have you here. October, evening, brother. Right. Rags, tomorrow evening from 7 is having part 2 of Whiskey Straight, and I missed your stream last Sunday, so I'll be glad to get caught up on that one. But I believe he is ex-RUC officer who wants to get his story about what it was like being a police officer in Northern Ireland during the shit. That'll be good information. I would say that guy has got some pretty good stories. Other than that, I don't know what anybody else is streaming over the week, although you can presume that John Davison, like the postman, always delivers. He's going to be on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 7 p.m. The other stream I'd like to give a shout out to is Dave's Waffle House. Really good bit of waffling. Pretty much every day from 3 p.m. If you're about and are able to get to that, that's a good wee show. He spends like an hour and a half talking to the chat, although he has had some dental issues lately, so I'm not 100% sure where he is with all that in the streaming. Neil Scott, welcome aboard, chum. Glad to have you here. There's Raymond Paper in. Evening, sir. Yep. Let's see. Other channel news. I have. Oh, yes, we're going to get a guest on. We have a guest planned for Martin W. What about you, chum? I'm going to have Al Mac on the Saturday, the 3rd of June, first Saturday in June. He's coming on for a conversation. I think that's going to be really interesting. He's going to talk about life on the road and different bits and pieces that happen while he's touring with Clan of Celts. Believe me, what he's been telling me on emails is a tip of the iceberg, and it's going to be a really good show, and that's going to be really interesting. The other thing that I have booked in is the second Friday of June. The second Friday of June is going to be another poetry stream on the John Davison channel. I'm going to be on that along with Chris. Can't remember his second name. Not Dangerfield, different Chris. Is going to be coming on. We're going to be reciting some poetry. And the other thing is, if you get some scribbling down and write some lines, submit your poems into John Davison, and he will read them out as well. Toffee, what about you, chum? You're back from walking the dogs. I have a surprise for you. And yes, you are due on for a wee convo. We'll get that sorted. But I'm going to give you a wee surprise, Toffee. You'll like this. 1 second, I just fetch this up. You're going to like this, Toffee. Not a lot, but you'll like it. Here we go. We're going to do a little bit of a stream rate. October, thank you, brother. Webster, Chris Webster. That's who's going to be the other person on with John Davison. Here, Toby, check us out. We're going to there's your live stream going, son. That was supposed to be, you see, look. There you go. I've just commented on it there. You may want to take that down, mate, because it's still streaming away. Well, it's still streaming away. Your one from 3 o'clock this afternoon. And note that you did leave a message on it saying no stream today, lads. It's too sunny outside. You're an expert with technology, Toffee. You are. You're an absolute. There you go. I thought Roy Harbison was first fun fact. I knew the man who was the only engineering officer on the first Royal Navy submarine to test launch a nuclear missile. I only learned about it at his funeral. That would have been an official secret. Yeah, that's right. You would have only heard about that. But that, Roy, you've got a hell of a lot of firsts and know a lot of people with firsts. So there you go. That's my good deed for the day. done, letting Toffee know that the stream was still up. Well, a Wookie. Pickles. That's the dog that found the World Cup, to the best of my memory. Was all Mac put on. What did all Mac say? White brother, even though just about to go out on stage, we'll catch up, have a good one, right? And I'll have a good gig too. And I'm really looking forward to that conversation with you. And hope you have a good day. It's a learning process. Look, you're going to get some snippets of how badly I fucked up at the beginning, so don't worry. A man of useless information, Willow. Absolute man of it. Right. So with that said and done, is there anything else I need to go over? I don't think so. Emma G's lurking at the moment. She'll be in the chat in a while. But the rocket ship cough and give it away. Right. So where am I going to go with this? Yes. Going to do a bit of a screenshot. We will get into the guts of this. In December 2016, England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland had sanctions placed upon them for displaying poppies on armbands or poppy displays in the stadiums on the matches played over the weekend of 11 November by the governing body, the Federation of International Football Associations, commonly known as FIFA. But the home countries had requested permission to wear the poppy emblem, but were denied it as it was classed as a political symbol and therefore banned. However, the home nations ignored the advice and decided to accept whatever sanctions were placed upon them. Yes, we're about to get into the meat and bones of the subject matter. And welcome aboard, Billy Blogs. Oh yeah, we do have good flags. And right, so we're going to have a bit of an article about StreamYard is sharing the window. I need to stop that share. Percent. Get the first article up because we source absolutely everything in this show. Let's see what this is looking on the screen. See if I need to do any zoomage. No, that's all good. FIFA, the body in charge of world football, has fined England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland for displaying poppies during the World Cup qualifiers around Armistice Day. The countries were involved in a row with FIFA because they wanted to wear the symbol of the poppy during the matches. And here we have the England armband, possibly the Scottish. I'm not sure who the fuck was wearing pink kits with a poppy on it, and nothing else. The poppy is a symbol that is often worn on Armistice Day on the 11th of November. Armistice Day is a day every year when the United Kingdom and other countries remember those who have lost their lives in the war. England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland wanted to wear armbands with poppies on or have poppy displays on the field or in the stands. But FIFA said that the nations were not allowed to display any political or religious or commercial messages. However, the UK's football teams ignored FIFA. England and Scotland players wore armbands featuring the poppy when they met on Wembley on the 11th of November. Wales and Northern Ireland games had poppy displays on the pitch or in the stands. FIFA have fined all four countries for breaking the rules. England have been fined £35,311, Scotland and Wales £15,684, and Northern Ireland £11,770. I don't know why they got different levels of fine, but they did. And I think that, yeah, I don't think we need that video. Going to go back to that. And Don Brown, Field Marshal from down under, welcome aboard. Yep. Wheels communism, removing our history and traditions. Yes, they try that. So this pitted the football associations against their fans, as the fans required the sacrifice to be recognised. And we can see that at least in 2016, the associations took fans into consideration. Northern Ireland had a particular problem, as they had cut a deal with the amalgamated Northern Ireland supporters clubs. For those of you, Robert Ingram, evening, sir. For those of you who don't know, the Northern Ireland football team, while the actual team themselves, the players, the management, the staff, the backroom staff, that is all mixed. It comes from people from both unionist and nationalist persuasions. But the Northern Ireland fan base is anything but mixed. And in the 90s, there was a push to get the stadium and the atmosphere around the match to be, they said it was sectarian. We would say it was patriotic, and there was certain songs that they did not want sung in the ground and whatnot. And there was basically a deal cut with the Amalgamated Supporters Club. Yes. You should remember that we played you in the quarterfinals of the Euros in 2016. And David, while we're on the subject, the deal that the supporters cut was the team will continue to play the official national anthem of our country. They would use the Ulster banner, and they would keep politics out of the game. And in return, the supporters would not sing chants like that were deemed to be sectarian. So we stuck with the official national anthem, unlike Wales and Scotland, who do not use their own proper national anthem at their sporting events. But there you go. So I chose this as a start date because it shows a marked difference in what is deemed acceptable or indeed political, depending upon which side of the woke, awake, or patriotic globalist line of falls. And we also get into how these multimillionaires are virtue signaling, or if they actually believe the message. But for now, this is my starting point. Scott's Armour's chiming in. Welcome aboard, chum, by the way. Scotland's new national mascot, Hummus Yusuf, to lead the team out. on a scooter, all tartan too for the banter. That would be good. Yeah, do you know what would be even better? If you just got back to your official national anthem before the football matches. I'm just saying, chum. Uh, you have done that to the point where people no longer know what the fucking Scottish national anthem is. Not getting at you. I'm just. Rory Hubbard, right? You thought the Irish only played hurling? Well, that would be the GAA. We're getting on to them at the end, but word to the wise, the GAA have this thing where they don't play any non-native games, and in the first ever meeting of the Gaelic Athletic Association, their first order of business was to invent the rules to Gaelic football, hurling, Carnogie, and I can't remember what that other fucking leprechaun game of play is. But they didn't have traditional games before they had the GAA. The GAA came in and invented that bullshit from scratch. Uh, Mannequin, Flower Scotland is not your national anthem. Sorry to tell you. Well, it's not your official one. Well, see, here's the thing, Willow Wiki. God Save the Queen is not the English national anthem, it's a British national anthem. And the problem is Scotland and Wales fucked off, do their own thing, but didn't put it through the House of Parliament or change their official national anthem. They just play it before the sports matches. Traditionally, the England football team walked out of the tunnel to the land of hope and glory, but that's not. And they play the British national anthem before the matches. Well, okay. My granddad played hurling for Ireland, but who else plays hurling? Only them. Right. So what we've learned so far is poppies are bad. Something that makes you look too British is bad. But let's have a look at what FIFA, UEFA, the national bodies. You're a few seconds behind. Well, the last 3 seconds have been crap. So just slip your slider along the front. Well, their official national anthem still "God Save the King." Yeah, it is. Uh, since we started talking about it, we'll cut to the links about the national anthems. I think. Uh, uh, right, 1 second. Hitting the ball with a stick is fun, but Probably better off for rounders. 1 second, I get this link. Take it out. Right. Here we go. Share screen. This is National Anthems info. Welcome to National Anthems info. Where more? Why the fuck is this? Oh crap. That didn't work too well. It seems that link was free once, and the second time you pull it up, you have to pay for it. We can't do that. But the long story short of it is, Scotland started playing the Flower Scotland before their sporting fixtures. Wales started playing Land of Our Fathers before their sporting fixtures in the 70s, and they never officially changed their national anthem. That's the long and short of it. But anyway, we'll get back to the other stuff. Yeah. Right. One second. I fucked up all my links. Right, that'll do. Here we go. Sport bans rules for Black Lives Matter. I want to just see what this is like on the screen. I'm going to zoom that in just a little. Sporting venues have not, this is from Politico, by the way, sporting venues have not traditionally welcomed political displays by athletes on any topic, including racism. Mixing politics with sport, the argument goes, is a distraction from the purity of human endeavour on the pitch or track, not to mention giving sponsors heart palpitations. But such is the reach of Black Lives Matter protests sparked by the killing of unarmed man George Floyd following the drug overdose of Floyd George. By the way, this is not where this started. It started long before that. The depth of feeling over festering injustice that instead of clamping down, some sports are making allowances for on-field protests. In the German Bundesliga, the first major European league to resume action in the coronavirus era, players and teams have repeatedly paid tributes to the Black Lives Matter movement to applause from senior figures in the sport. For the avoidance of doubt, in a FIFA competition and recent demonstrations of players in Bundesliga matches would deserve applause and not punishment, said Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, World Football's governing body, in its response to the political messaging. John Sanka, the Bundesliga, the Borussia Dortmund star, was shown a yellow card in a match at the end of May for removing his shirt to display justice for George Floyd, t-shirt, but senior German football officials later clarified that the caution was standard for removing his shirt and did not have anything to do with the political messaging. A top German official later issued a more full-throated backing for protesting players. These are targeted by publicly proclaiming inflexibility. The IOC is choosing one side of history, and it's not the right one. Jules Baykoff, author of multiple books on the Olympics. Anti-racism campaigns by players, which are committed to values for which the DFB also stands for. And Anton Neutscher, chairman of German Football Control Committee, therefore no proceedings will be initiated, even with comparable anti-racism campaigns in the next few weeks. For Germany, this marks a change in the sporting race relations. In 2018, German footballer Mesut Ozil retired from the national team, accusing German football chief Ronald Guiding of failing to back him when he suffered racist abuse after posing for a photograph with Turkish President Recep Erdogan. In the eyes of Grindel and his supporters, I am a German when we win, and I am an immigrant when we lose. See, his problem is he was posing with Erdogan, and Erdogan's on the wrong side of history. You also find that Mesut Ozil got forced out of Arsenal because he said things about the Chinese government and their treatment of Christians and Uyghur Muslims. You're not allowed to protest against that, but protesting for Black Lives Matter, that's all good. I find it very good when someone sets an example and shows that the topic of racism is not irrelevant. Camet Dilby, the German MP of Senegalese descent, told the RND network earlier this month. He said that while there were clear causes for racism in football, clubs and fans associations were also standing against abuse. In England, where football's Premier League is due to restart next week, authorities have said they will take a common sense approach to any anti-racism displays by players, indicating that they would not issue sanctions for political protests, as has been the case with NFL players in the Football League. That's where these fucking protests came from. But for some commentators, a separation of stadium and the state is usually preferable. I hope that sports return and give us the ability to remember the sense of community and escape they have always provided, said Shane Owens, a psychologist. Sports should be a place where we focus on the rivalries that bind us more than that they drive us apart. That sentiment is still the guiding principle of the Olympics. The year-long delay of the Tokyo Games due to the coronavirus has not shielded the event's organising body, the International Olympic Committee, from questions about its own hardline position on athlete protests. The event has a long history of political gestures, including possibly the most famous sporting protest in history at the Mexico City Games in 1968, where US sprinters Tommy Smith and John Carlos raised their fists at the medal podium with a black part. So, in the Netherlands, the IOC endorsed guidelines in January that ban competitors in the summer 2021 games from kneeling or fist raising or other forms of demonstration, despite a new report that the IOC may be preparing to roll back on that stance. I think the rest of this has become out of date. What I will say about the Olympics is they have banned Russia, but right, I want to catch up in the chat. Sorry, I'm just checking in the chat, people. Boss, what about you, Sean? They are indeed shackle hunters. They are all about the money. Take two. I'll explain why. Actually, I'll share the screen. My first ever live stream. My first ever live stream was on this subject, and I'll give you an example of how well it went and how good the audio was, because I had promised to do this at the time. Yep. This is the last time round. Sounds like ISIS video. 1 second, just check this. And what preferences? Yeah, the whole stream went like that. It was very, very not good. But I will say, you beautiful bastards that were there at the time actually stayed and attempted to listen to it, which was very humbling, because you obviously weren't there for the content. You were there to give me a bit of support and encouragement. So I thank you very much for that. And I am really, we've now got 26 people sitting here on a Saturday night listening to this live. The amount of, I average over 200 views on every video, on every stream. It's I'm humbled by that. I think this is the correct term. I'm going to stop that share. Yep. Yes, we're back to me. Good call, Bully Blogs. Hit that like and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. So let's see. So poppies are bad, but BLM's fine, and BLM's not political. Let's have a little bit of a scratch beneath the surface in that and see whether or not. Yep, we'll do all of this. Oh no, that's the wrong button. Present. Share screen. Just swiping a little video about Black Lives Matter. Yep. We're good to go.
Many see the slogan Black Lives Matter, or BLM, as a noble plea for equal treatment under the law. It's a cry to secure the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for everyone. But what does the Black Lives Matter organization actually stand for? To find out, look no further than their leaders, Alicia Garza, Opal Tometi, and Patrisse Cullors. Here's Cullors in a revealing 2015 interview.
We actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists.
Visit the Black Lives Matter website and read the list of demands to get a sense of how deep a transformation they seek. One of those demands proclaims, quote, "We disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families and villages that collectively care for one another. We can't be certain, but it's hard to believe this radical agenda is what most signed up for when they made that hashtag Black Lives Matter social media post, or that every employee, customer, or shareholder at Nike endorses a disruption of the family." Garza first coined the phrase in 2013, the day George Zimmerman was acquitted of murdering Trayvon Martin. Her friend Colors added the hashtag and joined the words so it could travel through social media. Tometi created the digital platform blacklivesmatter.com. According to Robert Stilson of the Capital Research Center, the group became a self-styled global network in 2014 and a fiscally sponsored project of a separate progressive nonprofit in 2016. This evolution has helped embolden an agenda vastly more ambitious than a national defunding of police. The goals of the Black Lives Matter organization go far beyond what most people think. They're hiding in plain sight, there for the world to see. If only we read beyond the slogans and the summaries of the movement they helped to create. It's a distinction with a profound difference. Their radical Marxist agenda is bent on supplanting the basic building blocks of society, the family, replacing it with the state, and destroying the economic system that has lifted more people from poverty than any other. Theirs is a blueprint for misery, not justice. It must be rejected.
So I think we can agree that the BLM movement is indeed political. DJ, evening, sir. Glad to have you aboard. George Orwell, welcome aboard. DJ and Scott's Armour in the one place at the one time. Oh, things getting good. So I think it is political. That's how it's endorsed. But how is the current form of anti-white demonstrations by sports stadiums began? Let's look at the existing kneeling protests by Colin Kaepernick, because this kneeling at football, the kneeling protest, is far from new. We'll have a look at where it came from. And let me just present this. Share screen. Share screen. Share. Now, StreamYard. Just going to read a little bit of this. This is from Time magazine. San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick refused to stand during the singing of the national anthem on Friday, sparking a heavy dose of criticism. Kaepernick said he would not show pride in a flag or a country that oppresses black people and people of color, according to a National Football League interview on Friday. Kaepernick's protest lands him among several other athletes who have used their fame to speak out on political issues of the day. This Time magazine goes on and on and on. It's bloody boring. There's nothing new in it, but I wanted to source that quote, lest people accuse me of making shit up, because that does happen. I want to check. Also want to check the chat. And so, and then I'm going to go into Kaepernick's the history of Colin Kaepernick, which is not really surprising, but we'll go into this. And the history of the kneeling thing. And this is from the Washington Post. We'll check StreamYard. I want to make it a little bit bigger. Colin Kaepernick was the second round draft pick, 36th overall by the San Francisco 49ers in 2011. Kaepernick led the team to a Super Bowl in 2012 season and to the NFC Championship game after the next season, becoming one of the NFL's most exciting young stars. But after a couple of years with mixed results, he began the 2016 season as Blaine Gilbert's backup at quarterback. So he'd been benched, right? Came in, was good, didn't stay the course. He was on his way out in 2016. Few noticed the first protest by Kaepernick on August 14, 2016, because it came before a preseason game in which he was not in uniform, because he was not picked to play in the fucking game. He remained seated on the bench out of uniform for the second game as well. And on August 20th, Kaepernick's gesture was first noticed before the third game on August 26th. After the game, he addressed his protest to members of the media for the first time, saying, "I'm not going to stand up to show pride in the flag or country that oppresses black people and people of colour. To me, this is bigger than football, and it would be selfish on my part to look the other way. There are bodies in the street and people getting paid leave and getting away with murder. There have been several shootings of unarmed black people that summer, and Kaepernick acknowledged the actions could have consequences if they take football away. My endorsement from me," he said. "I know what I stood up for is right." So there were quite a lot of black people killed during that time, mainly by other black people. But let's not focus on that. Sorry, I'm just checking the chat. Exactly what I was saying. Colin Kaepernick was the third-string quarterback that only got recognized for taking a knee. His black parents abandoned him, and he was adopted by white parents. This is exactly true. Kaepernick took a knee during the anthem before the final exhibition game for September 2016 in San Diego, with teammate Eric Reid joining him in protest. Kaepernick went from sitting to kneeling after a conversation with Nate Blade, a former Green Beret and NFL player. "We sort of came to a middle ground where he would take the knee alongside his teammates." Boiler told HBO's Real Sports. "Soldiers take the knee in front of a fallen brothers gave, to show respect." This is very disingenuous. In American football and indeed in rugby, if a player has been injured, they go on to one knee to indicate that they're not taking part in the game and they're awaiting medical attention. Is what and why he was taking the knee was this national anthem and the flying a flag that comes out with the American soldiers before the game is absolutely nothing to do with him, because it's a racist country. Is why he was doing it. I don't think there's. Yep. Kaepernick protested throughout the 2016 season and started 11 games for the 49ers, finishing 2 for 14. The 1-2 got beaten 14. He opted out of his contract after the season, and with a number of mid-core quarterbacks landing other teams, suspicion grew that he was being blackballed by NFL owners. He wasn't fucking good enough. Nobody wanted him. He was more trouble than he was worth. Who presumably didn't want the attention that signing him would bring. He has not played professionally since the 49ers' final game of that season on 1st of January 2017. That's where he moved from being a football player to a full-time race grifter. Yeah, remember that silly cat at the English women's team where too white and ended up winning the tournament. Yeah, there is that. All this progressive shit really means more less white people. So the kneeling thing was supposed to be carried out during the national anthem. It came to European football, most notably England, and they did it for a couple of seconds before the kickoff, and that carried on. And I want to draw your attention to a time whenever England players did something before kickoff that has not went down well. Has not, let's say, it hasn't aged well. This is the England national team during the Nazi salute. Perhaps the infamous picture of the England football team giving the Nazi salute before an international game against Germany in Berlin in 1938, less than 2 years before the outbreak of World War II, carries a message for FIFA slap banner even today. Alternative histories are big sellers at the bookshops and in the cinemas these days. Amid the current standoff about whether England should be allowed to wear a poppy emblem on their shirts against Spain on Saturday, this powerful resonant image might be seen in that light. It could be regarded as a depiction of what might happen before all football internationals in Europe to this day if Hitler had won. Well, I'm pretty certain that there's a problem with the Nazi salute, take the knee. I don't see that much difference. They're both bound to an oppressive lobby group. They had the sun in their eyes. Martin W. Yes, this is true. England still taking the knee. They're the only team still doing it. That was an armpit inspection. Emma J. Even sex out. With that said, we're going to move on to the Qutar World Cup and the problems there was with that, which were many. Before we do that, actually, we'll do a little bit of images. Share screen window. There you have this picture of the England players doing the Nazi salute. And I don't think it's much different from this picture of England players bending the knee before kickoff. And Harry Kane here, the captain, has also got the nice rainbow captain's armband on. He's going for a full house and bingo, full house and woke bingo. I'm not sure what else he could add on to there. Oh yes, something for Ukraine on his boots. That would polish it off. He needs to find a way of working that on as well. So, sorry, just want to check the comments. No gays allowed at the World Cup. Apparently, yes, there is that. We're going to get on that. So the Qatar World Cup, where England, for the record, were the only team that continued the fucking kneeling bullshit. I think there might have been one other, but I don't think so. But they were kneeling for Black Lives at the World Cup. Just want to check. I think, yeah, that's a little small. Going to blow this up a bit. Qutar World Cup, the event, the labour conditions for the stadiums that they were building, that the players were kneeling for Black Lives in, were, let's say, far from great. With these labour conditions in Qatar, there are many human rights that are violated, but the most prevalent being no one shall be held in slavery or servitude. Slavery and the slave trade shall be prohibited in all forms. What's happening is migrant workers, typically from poorer countries such as Nepal and India, are coming to Qatar and hope to make money to send back to their families. The workers travel through a black market system that takes all of their passports and other government issued documents when they arrive in Qatar. Without these documents, the workers are considered aliens if caught and will be sentenced to time in prison and may face fines. The workers are forced to work 12-hour workday in the blistering heat of the desert without water, 7 days a week. The industrial death rates at the Qutar World Cup was off the fucking charts. These workers are stuffed into rooms as small as people's bedrooms with up to 8 other roommates. The rooms are hidden in abandoned apartment buildings and sometimes underground to keep them hidden from the eyes of the authorities. You're now probably thinking to yourself, why don't they go and tell the police or other government officials? During the time it would take to file the report, the worker would miss at least two work days. After paying the legal fees of around $350 US, the worker would have lost more money than he or she came for. The second, well, these are all labourers. This was not he or she. This was he. These were men getting this shit. After the second question that gets asked a lot is, why don't they just fly back to their own countries and stop working in Qatar? Without any documents or government documents, the workers will be sent to prison and will have to pay fines to the Qatar government. The problem is happening as we speak. These workers are being enslaved to help build a stadium that will be used for the FIFA World Cup in 2022. This has been going on since the construction started. This is not only happening in this project. This type of slave labour has been practiced and honed to create a never-ending cycle of slavery for migrating workers. Besides the violations of basic human rights, there are also thousands of workers who have died working in these conditions. About 50% of deaths that have occurred in this construction have been linked directly to unstable working conditions, and the other 50 are indirect causes that have been a result of these conditions. The families are usually noticed by a short phone call, a few weeks, up to months after the death has occurred. These workers are people just like you and me who have families back in their home countries. Imagine hearing that your dad or brother had died at work and not knowing until a few months after. And if you're genuinely concerned, if they were genuinely concerned about the treatment of black people, it would have been quite simple. Back in 2012, 2013, when I first talking about the labour conditions in Qatar, the countries could have said to FIFA, we ain't going there. You need to get this World Cup sent somewhere else because, and tell them why, and be prepared to take the consequences for your actions. But no, they all went along and thought, we'll do a wee kneel before the match and that'll make everything right. I think not. Then somebody mentioned about gay people. We have this. Hold on, accept the cookies. This thing's coming to us from Sky News. Right, just want to check what this is like on the screen. Right, I'm going to make this a bit larger. Zoom it in. Yep, that's good. Martin W, exactly. Money talks. Yep. The captain was of Bass's hometown football club at Turk said no to the rainbow man. At least he had his convictions. This is true. It's worse than Amazon, mate. In Amazon, there are some rules. Like the World Cup in Qatar is the most controversial, yes, being held in a nation which forbids same-sex relations under Islamic Sharia law, which has a reputation for poor human rights. The tournament would normally unite the world with its festival of football, but this one has been dogged by corruption and fears of how LGBTQAI fans will be treated. What does Qatar's law say about homosexuality? Qatar law calls for a prison sentence of 1 to 3 years for inducing or seducing a male or female in any way to commit illegal or immoral actions. It also calls for the same punishment for whoever is instigating or seducing a male to commit sodomy. However, men and women can face action under a penal code 2004, which criminalizes same-sex activity and leads to a heavier sentence of up to 7 years in jail. The conservative Muslim country adopts an interpretation of Sharia law, which can even lead to same-sex relationships being punished with the death penalty. What has happened to people who have been arrested? Campaign groups have said that members of the LGBTQAI community have been detained and subjected to ill treatment in detention. Human Rights Watch recently identified a number of cases where individuals were given severe and repeated beatings while in custody. Detainees were said to have been ordered to attend conversion therapy sessions at government centres as a requirement for their release. Some were said to have been initially arrested in public places based solely on their gender expression. These people, in these countries, you don't get a gender expression. It's check your underpants, and whatever that says is what you have. Sasha Neo de Riviero initially considered going to the tournament in Qatar with her fiance, Marielle Dul. But as the couple learned more about the laws and same-sex relationships in the Gulf country, the plans no longer sounded like a good idea. Mrs. Neo de Rio said, as a lesbian woman, it's really hard for me to feel and think that we are going to a country where we don't know what could happen and how we could be safe. Such concerns were shared by fans worldwide, with many considering whether to even watch the tournament on television. I think you're going to be fucking safe watching it on TV. I don't think they're going to manage to get you like that. The former Qatar football footballer Kelly Salmon, an ambassador for the World Cup, described homosexuality as a damage in the mind. Ahead of the tournament, he told German public broadcaster ZDF's new program Herrick Journal that being gay is haram or forbidden in Arabic. Mr. Salem also said homosexuality is a spiritual harm. Foreign Secretary James Cleverly faced strong criticism in the UK for telling gay fans who visit Qatar not to stage any protests. He was giving them good advice. He said overseas travellers should respect the laws of their host country. What about you telling the people that come to our country to respect our laws? Have you maybe considered that? Is it something you might want to do? But he was accused of handing gay fans travelling to Qatar a slap in the face. In a further interview with Sky News, Mr. Cleverly said, "These are Muslim countries. They have a very different cultural starting point from us. Yes, well, maybe don't bring them all here whenever they don't culturally fit." I think it's important when you're a visitor to a country that you respect the culture of the host nation, unless it happens to be a European country you're visiting, in which case it's do whatever the fuck you want. His comments provoked fierce criticism, with the minister being accused of being shockingly tone deaf. Meanwhile, there was contempt expressed for FIFA after plans by England and Wales to wear anti-discrimination armbands were dropped under the threat of a sporting sanction. The anti-discriminating armbands are talking about were the one love ones, the rainbow and a heart, and that's not anti-discrimination, that's pro-LGBT. In a statement, the Football Supporters Association said, "Today we feel betrayed. Today we feel contempt for an organisation that has shown its true values by giving yellow cards to players and the red card to tolerance." Right, so he's saying, "Yeah, we'll warn you for doing that, and we're having no tolerance. Never again should a World Cup be handed out solely on the basis of money and infrastructure. No country which falls short on LGBTQIA rights, women's rights, workers' rights, or any other universal human right should be given the honour of hosting a World Cup." Well, I've got an idea for you. What about this? What about if you want to support LGBTQIA people, the first time you face any sanction, don't fold like a cheap fucking suit. Don't just go, "Oh, fuck no, I might get a yellow card. Oh, boo." And call it off. Because if that's where your fucking line of support goes to, it's not real. You have made it up. You don't actually support these people. You want the signal. There's a sheepdog in. What about you, chum? Yeah, they could indeed have a gay World Cup. Small problem. Not enough people to make it a proper competition, and a lot of countries wouldn't be able to field any team. It would be like Europeans versus Europeans. Most of the countries, that's frowned upon. Sorry, I'm just checking the comments. Right. So that brings us pretty much up to date. And the next thing I want to talk about is what's happening with Northern Ireland and the new bid, the bid for Ireland and Unite UK and Ireland bid for the Euros. Where am I? Present. Share screen. Share screen. This is coming from ITV. Just want to see if I need to. Yeah, I do. I need zoomed in. Levels of madness. This is one of the craziest things I've heard in a long fucking time. Casement Park has been named among one of 14 venues for a joint UK and Ireland bid to host matches at Euro 2028. The West Belfast Gaelic sports venue is in the process of being redeveloped. No, it's not. No work has started there, but there is uncertainty it will be built in time for the games. It has been subject of a long-running legal dispute, and there are questions hanging over how it will be financed. It means that Belfast is set to host matches should Casement be selected in the final list of 10 stadia that was submitted to UEFA in April. Belfast National Stadium at Windsor Park, with its 18,000 seat, it's 18,500 seat capacity, fell short of the required 30,000 seat minimum. The UK Ireland bid is favourite but faces competition from Turkey, with UEFA Executive Committee set to make a decision on hosting for Euro 2028 and Euro 2032 in September next year. Casement, the Ulster GAA ground in Belfast, was last in operation over a decade ago. Work was expected to begin after legal challenges was dismissed last May. It was originally part of the project to redevelop the three stadia, including Windsor Park for football, Ravenhill for rugby, which is now called the Kingspan Stadium, ITV. But there you go. You're very fast on these weird facts. For rugby dating back to the turn of the century. A planning association was overturned in 2014, which stalled work on Casement Park. But the cost is now estimated to be around double the initial 75 million cost that was to be split between Northern Ireland Executive and the GAA. Officials have stated their determination for Northern Ireland to host games for the tournament, and previous executive ministers said they believe obstacles can be overcome. The Five Association Group, in the statement, the bid sets out clear and compelling vision for FIFA Euro 28, football for all, football for good, football for the future. Key to this vision is a commitment to diversity, social purpose, innovation, and delivering outstanding Euro 2028 that will create unforgettable memories and sold out iconic stadium in football famous cities known throughout the world. We're going to come in a minute to Casement Park being iconic, because I don't believe it is. It was famous around the world for a day or two, but not for any sporting. We are delighted that the government partners of the UK, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and officials in Northern Ireland support this bid. Together, we believe we can deliver a world-class tournament that hosting UEFA Euro 28 will achieve, and a strong, sustainable legacy for football in the wider society, helping to drive economic growth in communities. That's all we really need to say about this, because the GAA were never anything different, chum. The GAA are the same now as they always were. Right. So, now, as I said earlier, uh, this is where this could begin to get quite strange. Should Northern Ireland qualify for the Euros, which is indeed possible? We did in 2016. We could do it again. There's a major problem we're talking about this. As I said earlier, the Northern Ireland team is mixed. The Northern Ireland support is not. Casement Park is on the Falls Road, a very nationalist area of West Belfast. I cannot see any world where a bunch of Northern Ireland supporters in the pubs on the Falls Road, where they all support Ireland, they don't like Northern Ireland at all. And generally speaking, in the pubs on the Lisburn Road beside Windsor, you have fans in the pub before drinking, singing 10 German bombers and stuff, generally being British. And I don't think that's going to fly on the Falls Road. So there is that. Casement Park not suitable to host Euro 2028 matches, any fan group says. The official body representing Northern Ireland supporters has said football tournaments should be played in football stadiums following a proposal to stage the Euro 2028 matches at Casement Park. The comments of the amalgamation of official Northern Ireland supporters clubs comes after it was confirmed that the West Belfast GAA venue is officially part of the UK and Ireland's final bid to co-host the major football tournament. It will join other stadiums across England, Wales, Scotland, and Dublin in hosting matches if the bid is successful. However, the AONISC, which is officially recognised by the Irish Football Association, said the governing body is aware of its position. Should Casement Park receive the significant public funding required to allow redevelopment to this process, we believe that Northern Ireland football should receive a parity of funding, the group said in a statement. And what they're saying is, instead of building this stadium from scratch, take Windsor Park, currently 18,500, stick another 12, 13,000 seats in, which is possible. It could be done. Not be that difficult at all. And it would also mean that people like myself and MG who go to the matches wouldn't have to pay to join a supporters club that gives us a free-for-all ballot for an hour after the tickets are released, with far more members in it than there are actually available tickets, and have to scramble for tickets every time if they actually fucking put more seats in. They would fill a 30,000 seater without a problem, provided they get the pricing right. The Aviva Stadium in Dublin is also included in the final bidding list. However, Croke Park, previously on the preliminary list, has been dropped off from the final bidding list by the associations. It also confirmed more than 3 million tickets would be available to football fans, more than any previous Euros tournament. The IFA has already insisted the new Casement Park will be constructed and be ready for Northern Ireland to co-host the Euros finals. I don't know why the IFA is even getting involved in this, because it's not a football ground. Its chief executive, Patrick Nelson, previously declared this is a unique opportunity for Northern Ireland to be part of a world-class partnership bid to host the greatest ever UEFA Football Championship, to deliver a legacy of football for all, football for good, and football for the future. They'll maybe do it on a fucking football ground. Now, Ben, what about you, Sean? Glad to have you aboard. Yes, I was saying about doing an alternative Eurovision. Do you know what? I'll figure that out for last year, but I think preparing that sort of a stream would take me at least 3 fucking weeks. We'll come up with the idea a day before. Doing good, chum. Doing good. Now, this is where, and this is the next thing about Casement Park. They were talking about iconic stadiums. Casement is not iconic; it is infamous. It was the site of one of the most horrific events during the shit that people refer to as the Troubles. Actually, that's went too big. Take that out one. Right. This will make sense in a minute. The PSNI have been accused of filming out on new information relating to horrific murders of 2 British Army corporals during an IRA funeral. It has been claimed that the police were contacted 3 months ago by a former soldier who said he may have fresh details about the public slayings of Corporal David Howells and Derek Wood on March 19th, 1988 in Belfast. There has been alleged that officials failed to follow up with the witness. He has since lodged a complaint with the police ombudsman. The Belfast Telegraph understands that the soldier claims to have information that might shed light on why there was no police or military intervention during the attack, which was recorded on an army surveillance helicopter. We got to see this shit live on the news, by the way. There's no suggestion that his complaint to the ombudsman that there was any wrongdoing by the security forces during the killings. Corporal Woods and Howes were murdered by an IRA lynch mob when they mistakenly drove into a Republican funeral. Initially mistaken for loyalist terrorists trapped in their car, they were dragged out in front of the world's press, viciously beaten in nearby Casement Park, and minutes later they were executed. So this ground where they want to hold fucking European Championship matches is a site where 2 British soldiers were murdered publicly, naked, beaten. And I think that on its own is reason why that place does not get fucking funding. Sorry, we're going to go back and have a look in the chat. Yep, live on TV. Hallie Tally being blown on the news. The amount of people there was meant that you couldn't have got soldiers in to get them out. But you could have done, but you'd have had to probably kill a couple thousand people, and 2 soldiers aren't worth that, apparently. Yep, it was videoed from a helicopter, and most of the footage went straight on the news. They cut off the bit where they were executed. Yeah, the the bit of waste ground that they tend to claim that they were murdered on was actually part of Casement Park. They had to unlock gates to get them into there. Yeah, they could have done. They could have taken 12 with them. And as we have seen and we've talked about, football, sports, all that stuff, they have a problem with some political links, not so much with others. And now I want to talk a little bit about the GAA. Yeah, Billy, I reckon you're right. I reckon it's 20. I think it's probably a 10 right mag in those pistols. I want to talk a little bit about the GAA, since you're going to put the Euros and the GAA thing. This is an article by the Belfast Telegraph. I couldn't find the Sunday Life one that it's quoting from, which was actually more extensive. Today we reveal a complete list of GAA tributes to men and women who were IRA members. Not just IRA, it's actually INLA as well. Our map shows the memorials have spread across the whole of Northern Ireland as controversy over the issue increases. Below we detail the ways Gaelic Athletic Association crowns, contest trophies, and even badges are used to honour dead Republican paramilitaries from the Troubles. The sports body insists that it is non-party political, and Republicans have stressed that the competitions have been named after paramilitaries because they were veteran GAA members and talented athletes. But their explanation did not satisfy Sports Minister Nelson McCausland last week. He threatened to cut public funding to the organisations unless its glorification of dead paramilitary stopped. Nationalists accused him of using the GAA as a political football to curry favour with the voters. They also blast him for ignoring loyalist tributes to murders such as Daniel Brian Robson Memorial Parade, which carries the name of the VF killer. Small matter. Those parades don't get funding. Sinn Féin's Barry Malone parade yesterday. Our Operation History will achieve nothing. It would be pushing for a trawl through loyalist bands and their names. We need to move forward. Those bands do not pretend to be a fucking sporting body, and they don't push for diversity. Anyway, GAA's also president Tom Lynn said GAA places and spaces have been places where everybody, irrespective of political affiliation or none, has been welcome. Many of the tributes below were created independently of GAA bosses and have announced they would cooperate with any government review. Kevin Lynch. The GAA curling club in Dungiven, County Londonderry, is named after Irish National Liberation Army member and former player Lynch. He was the seventh of 10 hunger strikers to die in 1981 after being sentenced to 10 years for stealing shotguns and conspiring to disarm the security forces. Lynch was captain of the 1972 All-Ireland winning under-16 Derry team. Joe Cackle. An under-12s football contest, under-12s, is played at Cardinal O'Donnell Park, West Belfast, in the honour of the IRA veteran who died in 2004. Cahill joined the IRA at age 18 and was convicted for his part in the killing of a Catholic police officer and dad of 10, Patrick Murphy, in 1942. He is also a key figure in the founding of the Provisional Irish Republican Army in 1969. Bobby Sands, the Conan na Fushley, fuck knows, it's the women's hockey with the ball flying through the air game, is what it means. GAA club honours IRA hunger striker Sands, who grew up near space in Twinbrook, West Belfast. The club's badge shows the lark, barbed wire, and a capital H representing the H blocks. In the maze prison where Sands, who was convicted of arms offences, was the first IRA hunger striker to die. There is also a Bobby Sands Memorial Soccer Cup contest held during the Feely and Fubo Festival in West Belfast. Maria Farrell, a girls' camogie championship played in Tullysarn, County Armagh, was named after IRA woman Farrell. She spent 10 years in jail for bombing the Conway Hotel, Dunmurry, and was killed by the SAS in Gibraltar with fellow IRA Irish Republican Army members Sean Savage and Daniel McCann in 1988, with whom she allegedly planned to bomb an army base. Sorry, I want to go back and check the comments. Fuck knows, Billy. Yes. Emma G, it's 11 o'clock. Oh. I'm going to hit the Sacks Boys football tournament tomorrow. I've got a feeling it's going to be a longer day than that. Yeah. Hope everything goes well. It was, Rory. That was a good day. Right. Martin Houchen. A commemorative Martin Hurston Memorial Cup final is played every year at Gabley Piers football field near Dungannon, County Tyrone. The fifth of the H-Block hunger strikers to die, Hurson was arrested in 1976 and quizzed over the attempted murder of a UDR soldiers in a bomb attack. The charge was dropped, but he was convicted in relation to several other charges. Michael McVeary. The first member of the IRA in South Armagh to be killed in the Troubles, McVeary was shot by soldiers in 1973 after placing a £100 bomb at the KDRUC station, helped by 5 men who fought a running battle with the police after the device exploded. The Michael McVeary Cup is played in Cullyhanna, County Armagh each year. Jared and Martin Hart. The East Tyrone IRA brothers were killed in a carefully planned SAS ambush at Drumscally in 1988. Many branded it revenge for the Ballyskewy bus attack 10 days earlier, which killed 8 soldiers and injured 27 others. Played at Loughncolmy, the Jared and Martin Hart Memorial Cup is now one of the Tyrone's foremost under 12. They're putting it into all the kids' stuff. They can't get fucking terrorism at them young enough. Lewis Leonard Memorial Park. This ground in Dora, Fermanagh, was named after IRA man Lewis, who was killed by loyalists in 1972 while working late in his shop in the village of Darlin. Lockhill bomber Paddy Kelly. The Paddy Kelly Cup is played in Dungannon, County Tyrone, as part of the commemorations of the IRA Loughgall martyrs. A heavily armed IRA unit, including Kelly and Calliam, was trying to blow up a part-time police station in Loughgall, County Tyrone, with a £200 bomb when they were gunned down by the SAS. Fuck, you want to see the cars? They had pictures of the cars and the amount of holes in it. They were fucking riddled. McDonald Dockery Park. The home ground of St Teresa GAA Club in West Belfast is named after hunger strikers and former players Joe McDowell and Kieran Doherty. McDowell had been arrested in 1976 with Bobby Sands following a bomb attack on a furniture store in Dunmurry, and Doherty was convicted for possession of firearms, explosion and hijacking. Interesting fact, I was trying to find out what Bobby Sands was in jail for, and I looked up the Kane site, conflict resolution. Anyway, it's a website that's supposed to list every major event during the Troubles, and I went to the year of Bobby Sands' arrest, and even the year previously, and checked every day to find this bomb in the furniture store in Dunmurry, and it's no longer listed. So very strange. Lockie Campbell GAA Park in Dromore, South Armagh, is named after IRA members Jim Lockie and Sean Campbell, who were killed when a landmine exploded prematurely on Kelly's Road, Kilkeel in 1975. Now, what I will say is this list is old, and there will be a lot more. There will be a lot more GAA things with links to terrorists before that. So it seems to me when it comes to football, sport in general, whether or not you're allowed to put politics into it is entirely conditional on what side of the line it goes. So that's the end of my talk on politics and football. I'm going to move on to something else. I'm just checking the chat here, people. Here, Steve K, no, go get some kip and enjoy the football tournament. Yeah, don't worry. Right, I'm just checking through the chat, and now we're going to have a strange sport interlude. Right. Yes. Here we go. I'm just getting this pinged up. Any ideas? Get your guesses in. What the strange sport could be this week. Right, as I get this pulled up. Can you tell what it is yet? What about you, Packer? No, there's no diving involved in this. Right. Check this madness out.
And this is Sweden, Team 1. Currently not in the top 10. But let's see what happens after this double Dutch routine.
So the Swedish have a gymnastic background, and that's what you can mostly tell in their freestyles. I'm really curious which kind of gymnastics we're about to see now. First one. Oh wow, a lot of different turning positions on the left-hand side here.
And they have such nice form and great posture. And that is a proper round-off back tuck. And it's really nice hitting every beat.
Right.
The music.
Oh wow, that's a really nice interaction there. Yeah, the only thing I'm not, wow, that's a really nice combination there. Yeah, the only thing I'd not be happy with is the push-ups. You see,
yeah,
that
they
the
have
hip
their
is so high, it's really much easier to do it.
Hey, they nailed that one.
Wow. And the gym is really excited. Nice to see. Wow.
That's great. Just a
Sheepdog singer has to be admired. Actually, faking says talented, give him that. That's an N from Toffee. Packer sees the hay, just can't see the fuck why. Don Browning's on me away. It's a bit ropey. Right, here, hold on. Now, this next one. Oh. Right. See, that was a bit prancy dancy. We've got other madness. One second. This is not the link you actually wanted. Uh, uh, one second. I'm going to go for a different link here. Hold on. It's not the one I actually wanted. One second. One second. I'll just get this. No, I'm gonna have to Google this. It's not ideal, but it should do. One second. Right. One momento. Share screen.
Boxing champion, maybe for a boxing challenge, skipping champion. Anyway, yeah, let's get on with the rules, Marco.
How you doing? Hi, you all right? So, the current record stands at 251 skips. So you need to achieve 252, or even more, to become the new Guinness World Record holders.
That's like 4 skips a second.
That's an incredibly large amount of skips that my man's going to achieve. Peter, over to you.
Okay, Becky and Jamie now getting into position to prepare for this boys v girls head-to-head. The most skips in 1 minute, 252, as you heard, is the current record to beat. Okay, they look settled. Let me ask them the vital question. Jamie, are you ready? He is. Becky, are you ready? She is too. Marco, are you ready?
Marco pronto.
Okay, guys, I want to see you skip like you've never skipped before in 3, 2, 1. And away they go, blisteringly fast. A bit of a blur to the naked eye, but those ropes are spinning all right. Hopefully at an incredible 4 complete revolutions per second, because that's the speed they'll need to go if they are to at least equal the current world record of 252 revolutions per minute. Becky Dale is one of the best skippers to come out of the UK in years, representing her country in European and World Championships with great success. The rope used here can be of any length and made of any material, as long as it meets international jump rope standards. If either of them trips on the rope, that revolution won't count. Just look at her go. Unbelievable. 15 seconds left on the clock. The pain setting in now. This is a real endurance. 10 seconds left. And there's the klaxon, time's up. Who's come out on top? Will it be the boys or will it be the girls? Marco now getting in front of his high-definition monitor to review the super slow-motion playback. There it is.
There you go. That's speed skipping. What do we think of that? I'm just checking the comments here. The woman one, but the woman's a professional skipper, and the guy was a boxer who does skipping for training. So it's not surprising. What is surprising is he beat the world record by 2 and she beat it by 52 or something like that. Accent saying shite. Yeah, professional skipper. They have championships for this shit. That Dancy double Dutch thing was part of a skipping tournament. Yeah. I don't believe it is. Well, powerlifting is done competitively whenever we build our bonfires here in Northern Ireland. That's definitely competitive. See who can get. No, the skipping tournaments are male or female. Yeah, you did. I put a little bit of the first stream up. Right. Emma, I'll let you hear some clips from that the next time you're over. Because I didn't have that on link. I have to go in and find it in my private thing. Mannequin says it's all double Dutch to him. Right. Now, to get back onto some cultural stuff, we're going to have a look at the Furry Dance, which is not some weird sexual bullshit, by the way. We need to accept that. We need to close that. Then we need to get this up. StreamYard present. The Furry Dance is from Cornwall. Emma G. Yes, it's the same sort of thing, but it's actually called the Furry Dance. You were only here for the clips, to be honest. Oh, here's the thing. See if we can't openly make mistakes, and see if we can't disagree civilly. Then there's no point doing any of this crap. Right. Hellstone, Florida is one of the oldest surviving May customs, celebrating the end of winter and the coming of spring. A series of dances are performed throughout the day. At the heart of the celebration is dancing that's called the Furry Dance, a tradition which goes back centuries. Some of the you to go away, please. Holston, Florida is one of the oldest surviving May custom celebrating. Oh, right, hold on. Some say the furry dance takes its odd name of the English word furry, which is meant to go forward and dance, but most authorities disagree with this notion. They maintain that the name comes from the Celtic word fur, which signified the festival. Similar festivals has used to take place elsewhere in Cornwall, but only on May the 8th festival, Helston survives. It was previous in the 1st of May, and the dance at the Lizard of May 3rd were won in Perline. And one of the best parts of the Hurlines, who claim to take place every year without a break, except at times of war, certainly make the most of it. Here's a 7 a.m. dance. Right, so you get the idea of that. The Easter Festival kicks off at 7 a.m. with the early morning dance. Sleepy residents, usually the commotion from their windows, many still wearing pajamas and dressing gowns, while people are already thronging the streets of the town ahead of the busy day. The Han at Toe pageant took place at 8 a.m., followed by a popular children's dance, followed by the 9:50 a.m. and the ancient furry dance at 9. The last dance will take place at 5 p.m. So there you go. There's the furry dance. To me, it looks like the original form of speed dating, because it seems you get a chance to dance from multiple partners. Yeah, Billy, I knew there'd be one degenerate. I knew there would be one. Sorry, I had that. Yeah. I think the Wogan song, I think that tune for their dance is where the Wogan song came from. Well, we'll have a bit of Wogan. Because I believe that song is about this festival, which I never knew whenever I first heard it. Right, here we go. We'll get a bit of Wogan on.
thought I could hear the curious tone of the cornet, clarinet, and big trombone, fiddle, cello, big bass drum, bassoon, a flute, and euphonium, each one making the most of his chance, all together in the floral dance. As I walked home on a summer night, the stars in heaven were shining bright, far away from the footlights' glare, into the sweet and scented air of a quaint old Cornish town. Borne from afar on a gentle breeze, joining the murmur of summer seas, distant tones of an old world dance, played by the village band, perchance on the calm air came floating down. I thought I could hear the curious tone of the cornet, clarinet, and big trombone, fiddle, cello, big bass drum, bassoon, flute, and euphonium, each one making the most of his chance, all together in the floral dance. All together in the floral dance. And soon I saw such a bustling and prancing. Then I saw the whole village dancing. In and out of the houses they came. Old folk, young folk, all the same in that quaint old Cornish town. Every boy took a girl round the waist and hurried her off in tremendous haste. Whether they knew one another, I care not. Whether they cared at all, I know not. But they kissed as they danced along. And there was the man with the curious tone of the cornet, clarinet, and big trombone, fiddle, cello, big bass drum, bassoon, flute, and euphonium, each one making the most of his chance, all together in the floral dance. All together in the floral dance, dancing here, prancing there, jigging, jogging everywhere, up and down and around the town. Hurrah for the Cornish floral dance!
Now, I reckon that song's about the floral dance in that competition, in that Terry was from down south, but he had a British perspective on things. But I reckon that song's about that traditional dance, and that each man making the most of his chance bit is about, because they swap partners. So you've got moments where you can maybe chat somebody up and arrange to meet later or whatever. So that's what I think that's about. And the other thing I want to talk about today is St Dustan's Day. And Amaji, we're not doing Bum Pension Day. Bum Pension Day turned out to be boring as fuck. Wasn't good at all. Yeah, look at them far right rap bastards looking into all their traditions and customs and culture and shit. Yes, okay, St. Dustan Day. No, well, not Dustman as in Bin Man, but you will see. This is where my accent doesn't always help. Sometimes it's a little bit. Sorry, I seen a comment there. We need to check. You want a bit of bum pension? We'll see. You might get a little bit of bum pension day. Check StreamYard. Or I'm on StreamYard. I want that a little bit larger. If you zoom in. St Dustan of Canterbury, born 924 near Glastonbury, England, died May 19th, 988, Canterbury, feast day of May the 19th. English abbot, celebrated Archbishop of Canterbury and chief advisor to Kings of Wessex, who is best known for the major monastic reforms he effected. Of noble birth, Dustan was educated by Irish monks and visitors at Glastonbury, where he later entered the household of his uncle, Archbishop Athletium of Canterbury, and then the court of Dunstan, King of the English. Miraculously accused of participating in the Black Arts, he took refuge with his kinsman Athletius, the Bishop of Winchester, who influenced him to become a monk and later ordained him. Dustan then lived as a hermit in Glastonbury, where he learned various crafts and music until Asseltine's successor, Edmund I, recalled Dustan as one of his counsellors. About 943, Edmund made him abbot of Glastonbury. Under Dustan, the abbey became a famous school. Under Edmund's successor, Harold, Dustan became the chief minister of state, in which capacity he sought to establish royal authority, to conciliate the Danish section of the kingdom, and to eradicate heathenism, and to reform clergy and laity. On the accession in 955 of King Edwig, however, Dustan's influence and office were temporarily eclipsed. He apparently quarrelled with Edwig and was outlawed, being driven to Flanders. At the Abbey of Bandildum, he studied continental monasticism, which he used as a chief source in restructuring English monasticism. When recalled by King Edgar in 1957. In the same year, Edgar made him Bishop of Worcester and London. In 959, Edward became sole king of the English, and Dustan was appointed Archbishop of Canterbury. During this period, intellectual activity flourished, and Dustan personally reformed and established several celebrated monasteries and sponsored monasteries to Scandinavia. On Edgar's death in 975, Dustan secured the crown for Edgar's elder son, later known as St. Edward the Martyr. One second, I need to cough. I almost forgot the unmute there. That would have been bad. Yep. When Edward was murdered in 978 and was succeeded by Ethelred II, Dustan's public career abated, and he returned to Canterbury, where he taught at the cathedral school. So that's a bit about St. Dustan's Day. And what I would add to that is, after Dustan was sent off to Flanders, he was called back to England by Edgar, King of Northumbria and Mercia. Under Edgar's influence, Dustan became the Bishop of Worcester, and when Edward died in 1960, Dustan was named Archbishop. Dustan arranged the details of Edgar's coronation as king, which remains the basis of royal coronations today. That I don't know. It's probably something to do with the person that succeeded him. It normally is. Sorry, I'm just checking through the. Yeah, you did. You missed Eurovision for this. That was possibly unfortunate, or possibly fortunate. Sleep well, sleepdog, sheepdog. Just checking something here. 1 second. 1 second. Just getting. Right, back to StreamYards. It's going to be a very, very quick one. Oh, fuck, I'm sharing the wrong screen. 1 second. Get the right screen up. There we go. Right, well, we're on the right track. Apple Oak Day, also known as Bum Pinch Day, Restoration Day, more commonly known as Oak Apple Day or Royal Oak Day, was an English, Welsh, and Irish public holiday observed annually on the 29th of May to commemorate the restoration of the Stuart monarchy in May 1660. In some parts of England, the day is still celebrated as being known as Shick Shack Day or Work and Nettle Day. In 1660, the English Parliament passed into law an act of paternal anniversary Thanksgiving on 9 and 20 day of May, declaring 29th of May a public holiday for keeping in perpetual anniversary, a day of thanksgiving to God and great blessing and mercy have graciously passed and vouched to the people of these kingdoms after their manifold grievous suffrage in the restoration of the majesty. Traditional celebrations to commemorate the event often entail the wearing of oak apples, a type of giant ball possibly known in some parts of the country as a shick shack, were sprigs of oak leaves in reference to the occasion of the Battle of Worcester. In September 1651, Charles II escaped the Roundhead army by hiding in an oak tree near Bustle House. Anyone who failed to wear an oak sprig risked being pelted with the bird's egg or thrashed with the nettles. In Sussex, those not wearing oak lids were to be pinched, given rise to the unofficial name of Pinch Bum Day. Similarly, it was known as Bumping Day in Essex. In Upton Gray, Hampshire, after the church bells had been rung at 6 a.m., the bell ringers used to place large branches of oaks over the church porch and another over the lynch gate. Similar branches were positioned at the gateway of every house to ensure good luck for the rest of the year. So there you go, Emma G. I told you Bum Pinch Day was not that exciting. And I'm going to pull that down. Pull that down. Yep, some people get threat. If you weren't wearing yoke legs, you could get your bum pinch, you could get hit with nettles, all sorts of stuff. So there is that. And with that being said and done, What are we on? We're on 2 hours 10. If anybody wants to come in for a quick chat about the stuff we talked about tonight or any other subject, there's a link in the description. And I'm just going to talk to the chat for a few minutes until that happens. And if nobody's coming in, then I'm going to shut this shit down. So there you go. 1 second. Oh, Billy Blogs actually said some people like getting threshed with nettles. I don't know why. They're a thing I try to avoid. Oh, and other news about nettles. If you do get stung by nettles and you're going to use the docking leaf to fix them, you need to crunch and squelch the docking leaves and get juice out of them, then rub the juice over the stings. Just rubbing the dock leaf over them is not going to do anything for you. Yeah, if you like getting fresh with nettles, it's going to be some weird sexual connotation to it. Eurovision has never been the same without Tara. I tell you what, also hasn't been the same since. See, back in the day, 1980s, even the start of the 1990s, the points you get actually had something to do with how the song was. Now it's got nothing like it whatsoever. And as I said, we did have an idea of doing an alternative show, but it would take me fucking quite a while to figure that out. So I will do that for next year. How DIY is this? We can even hear him breathing. I hope my breathing's not coming out. Yeah, I was. I had a mute way. Oh, that docking leaf thing with the nettles does work. I know because I've used it. If you go mountain biking, you get stung by nettles, and I have used the docking leaf thing. But you do need to scrunch them and get the juice out of them, and then that actually works. It does take a sting out of it. Mr. Rory Herbert, what about you, sir?
Good evening, 42. How are you doing there?
I'm doing good, thank you. How's yourself?
Excellent. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, good stream tonight. I'm not into the footy too much myself. More into rugby when I was a young lad, but there we go.
Yeah.
I'm not sure quite what the topics are going to be that we will discuss. I thought there were some interesting comments about immigration in the press and the numbers of immigrants that we've got in England and perhaps Ulster. But you probably know a lot more about that than I do, 42.
I actually don't. I don't watch our mainstream press very much, but the only thing I can say for sure is whatever numbers you're saying we have as immigrants, you could probably double that, because there's no way they're giving us the honest answer.
Well, I did hear a figure of apparently 88,000 illegal immigrants crossing the channel on small boats is projected for this year, which a huge increase, obviously. But the other immigrants, you know, be they illegal or legal, is going to be 1 million.
At what point are the government going to say that's enough, no more?
Well, I don't think they are. I don't think they are, unfortunately.
Well, whenever you listen to or even directly ask the people who are advocating for safe and legal migration and all that stuff, they cannot give you a upper figure.
Well,
The government,
I agree. I don't think the Home Office really knows, to be honest.
yeah, I think they are that afraid of the progressive liberals that they're afraid. Well, the other thing is, no matter what number they put on it and go, right, this is how many, they have no plan for what to do whenever that limit's reached. And if they put a number on it and they go, right, it's 1 million. Whenever we reach 1 million immigrants, there'll be no more. What do they do with the 1,000,001st one that arrives? Because they haven't been able to figure out to do with a million of them. So I don't see them getting a new idea anytime soon.
Well, one good thing about it, I suppose, there was someone on GB News a couple of days ago who mentioned that that the indigenous or white British would be a minority by 2060, and to be honest, you know, they've never ever mentioned that before on the mainstream media, and I thought this was actually quite a good thing, you know, because it makes people see what is actually really happening to this country, to our country.
Yeah. But is GB News mainstream media?
Well, yes, I
you know,
they're on the television.
Right, yes, they're on the television, but if you have a Venn diagram of viewers of BBC, ITV, Channel 4, and GB News, that's 4 circles, and 3 of them will interconnect, and the other circle will be off on its own. You know, it's not. I get what you're saying. It's good that.
Excuse me. That's not exactly a Venn diagram. We have circles that are joining over one another.
Yeah,
you have to look at the main circle.
Yeah. Yes. But GB News would not be in that Venn diagram. There's none of their viewers are watching the other channels. There's none of the viewers from the other channels are watching theirs. It's pretty much. Do you know what? You can get YouTube. I can go through my TV channel and find YouTube on it and go in and search for whatever what and get it on the TV. It doesn't make it mainstream. I honestly don't. And the amount of vitriol that there is about GB News by the mainstream, I get that it's good that there's a news program that's actually on the television that's bringing up that point, but if BBC and ITV were both to say that on the news on the same day, or even, heaven forbid, have interview somebody and let the person who's being interviewed bring that up. But anybody that's got that sort of an idea, they're not allowed on the national TV.
Well, I'd like to mention something else that happened today. The Mirror paper in the United Kingdom.
Yep.
Mentioned. I don't know whether you saw this. Yeah, they mentioned about Patriotic Alternative giving food out. A vile thing that they did, giving food to the homeless in certain cities in England, and how absolutely disgusting this was, that they gave food to the homeless, saying that illegal immigrants are being housed, but you have nothing. I mean, how can that be possibly vile when you're feeding people who are maybe dying on the streets?
So
it's beyond my understanding.
Their point was that the Patriotic Alternative were foul for feeding British homeless people.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly that. And more vile for handing out leaflets saying that illegal immigrants are being housed in 4- and 5-star hotels, but you have nothing. That's apparently vile.
So you go along, you give somebody a sandwich and a leaflet, and the leaflet says the British government are housing and feeding illegal immigrants, but you've got nothing, and here's a sandwich for you because we're the only people that give a fuck. Those rat bastards are trying to weaponize the homeless. That's see,
I mean, how disgusting is that? Absolutely disgusting.
We need to get. Here's the problem.
You attack the Mirror, the mainstream media. Yeah, they attack people who are trying to feed homeless veterans on the street. You're fascist and racist. I mean, it's beyond comprehension, in my opinion.
The thing that always crosses my mind about this issue is, see if homeless people were allowed to vote, we wouldn't have homeless people.
Well, no, exactly, no, because you have to be on the electoral register. Yeah.
Yes, you have to have a fixed address. You have to be on the electoral register. And I was thinking, see if you could open a drop-in centre. Right? Hear me out. If you could open a drop-in centre and part of the service of that drop-in centre was a PO box type thing, which gave all of those people that arrived on a daily basis a sort of address, and get them signed up to the electoral register, you could probably get yourself elected.
Well, possibly, but 42. I'm not sure. That's a bit dangerous, because who you have loads of people signing up for PO box addresses. I mean, it's similar to my daughter, living at home and then going to university, being on my register, and then she signs up on her university's register, and then she has 2 votes immediately.
You mean it's like vote harvesting?
Well, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like vote harvesting, because there's a lot of vote harvesting goes on in this country. It's a little bit harder now in Northern Ireland because we've put in a bit of electoral reform, but there's a hell of a lot of vote harvesting goes on in England. Here's the thing. Does your electoral roll in England get purged periodically?
What do you mean by purged exactly?
Right. See, every 10 years in Northern Ireland, the electoral roll, everybody gets taken off it. So they have, on this day, and it's well away from any elections, the electoral roll goes from however many people it is to 0. And then you have 3 months in which to get yourself back signed on the electoral roll.
Right. Okay. All right. How it works
So-
in England.
Right.
Yeah.
So it means that you don't have anybody 120 years old voting.
Right. How it works in England is they prior to any election, they send out a form that says, right, who's living in your household, who's eligible to vote, and you fill that in and send it back to them. You can do it online. It's fairly straightforward. Whether or not they every 10 years they purge it, I doubt it. You know, because I think they try and get the statistics up to date. You know, whenever there's an election every 4 to 5 years.
Right. And is there any way of verifying who you are whenever you're signing up? Like, could you do it over the internet without use of ID or anything?
No, I don't think over the internet. But if you have a postal vote, yes, you can, and it's possible to register in 2 places, as I just mentioned. But
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. It's one of those situations difficult to control, because obviously if you move away from home and you want to vote locally, then you will, but you might be registered in another constituency. But anyway,
Yeah.
I didn't want to go on about politics too much tonight.
Right. Okay. We'll drop that. Anything else interesting happening with you? No.
Trying to think. I filled in my tax return today. That was quite fun. And currently I'm owed £5,000 back from the government. So I have to chase that one up there.
Oh, nice. Yes, it's not very often you get something back from them. It's rare.
It certainly is, Bitchute. Anyway, enough of me.
Yep.
If you have anyone else coming on,
I don't think there is, but I am going to just wrap this up. It's actually quite interesting now, because nobody's been streaming before me on a Saturday evening. So I've went early, and it's quite refreshing to be finishing at midnight. And
well, it's 2 minutes to midnight by my clock.
Yeah, that's where I'm getting it. And finishing at midnight, and the weather's picked up. There's a pretty decent chance I'm going to get out for a bit of a cycle tomorrow morning.
On the subject of clocks, last Christmas I bought this. It's a radio-controlled clock for my kitchen, and
right?
It's amazing. It communicates with something up in Cumbria, some transmission, and it actually alters its second hand to the exact time every day. And sometimes I watch the second hand, it goes back a couple of seconds to correct its time.
Yeah,
it's interesting technology.
That is actually quite interesting. Right. So I'm just looking up a bit of an intro song. Right, we've got one. We've got an intro. So as it's going along, checks on the internet, finds out the time, and just self-adjusts.
Does indeed. Yeah. In fact, I mean, on the when the clocks go forward, you can actually see it. The minute hand goes round 1 hour automatically. It is quite rather impressive.
That is impressive. Whereas in my car, whenever the clocks change for about 4 or 5 weeks, the clock in my car's given the wrong time. It's out by an hour until I eventually get around to actually doing it.
42. Yeah, no, my wife is exactly the same. When the clocks change, she won't do it. I have to jump in the car about 2 months later and say the clock's wrong. And the problem with that also is that if the car clock is wrong, then when you hit the navigation system, it tells you you're going to be an hour late for wherever you're going, or an hour early. And I said, look, you have to change this. This is ridiculous. But that's women for you, you know.
Well, see, I don't have a navigation system, so I don't have that problem. But that would be a bit infuriating. Yeah, I don't have it built in. Well,
there we go. 42. Good chat. We've come up with some interesting topics, but
we have.
Carry on. Yeah, carry on. Play your outro.
Yeah,
I shall mute myself.
Right, Roy. Thank you very much for coming on. Always a pleasure for a chat.
Absolutely, it's always a pleasure speaking to you too, sir.
Yeah, here we go. We'll hit the outro and sure.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs gay. Serious crap. Gay. Frogs, friggin' frogs. It's not funny. I'm gonna say it real slow for you. Gay. Frogs. Won't you fight for your life? Gay frogs, friggin' frogs. I don't like a frog. Gay friggin' frogs. Frogs. Friggin' frog crap. Won't you fight the frogs? It's not funny. I'm gonna say it real slow for you. Frogs. Place point.
All right, everybody. Thank you. I've been 42. You lot in the chat have, as always, been fucking amazing. Good night. God bless. See you all next week.